Welcome to the Talking Classics podcast. I'm Molly, and in this week's episode, Craig and myself sat down at Suffolk HQ to talk about some of the latest classic car news, including our various classic car shows coming up and our recent Drive It Day event, vintage Bentleys and how synthetic fuels could work in the classic car world, upcoming future classics and what we think about them. If you like this series, remember to follow and leave us a review on the podcast platform that you use. It really helps us out. Enjoy! In 1900, 65 drivers set off to prove the viability of the motor car. Now, beginning on the 23rd of April in London, they decided to drive from London to Edinburgh and back again. Amazingly, on the 12th of May 1900, 35 of the 65 cars made it back and completed the journey, proving that motor cars had a place worthy in the community. Now, 123 years later, we embarked on our very own Drive It Day. It was such a success, wasn't it?
It was really good. So we woke up in the morning and it was absolutely tipping it down, wasn't it?
No, it was awful.
That's always a worry though, any car show, because we have our car show in July and it's like, it always typically seems to rain on that weekend. Then we woke up on Drive It Day and it was the same story. So it's one of those, I suppose the nice thing about this Drive It Day is it's not about the classic. You know, you could, in theory, come in anything you want. Some people sort of turned up in modern and were a bit apprehensive about where to park, but it wasn't about that.
No, well, I think we actually escaped a lot of the weather because we started ours at Bentwaters, didn't we?
Yes.
And when we came back from Bentwaters, so we started at Bentwaters and then we had a car show there.
Yep.
And then halfway through the day, we made the journey back to here at Pettistry. And at Bentwaters, it was relatively dry. The sun poked his head out a bit, but when we got back here, everywhere was soaked.
But even halfway back, because I had the little Lotus Elise and I had the roof off and I was thinking, this is turning out to be a really nice day.
Yeah.
And then it didn't rain for my journey back, but there was a lot more water on the road.
Yeah,
and
there
I
was
thought,
so much here.
Yeah, and then it really opened up, didn't it?
It did. But it was okay though, because I felt like, because we had this lovely space here, everyone just kind of hustled and bustled in here, which was really good. And we had the ladies doing the raffle for the NSPCC inside our building, and we had some food, and we had music as well.
And the band was outside, but that kind of worked because they were under a gazebo.
So I feel like it still brightened people's spirits, even though it was raining. People still hanged around. I was surprised because I thought, as soon as it started to rain, people might leave.
Yeah, and they didn't.
But they didn't.
No. I reckon there was probably 200 odd cars that came. I would have thought.
Oh, definitely.
So no, it was a really good day.
So good, so good. And I think we raised quite a lot of money for the NSPCC as well, didn't we?
Yes, so that's the nice thing. So we were approached by NSPCC before this to ask whether, because we'd never hosted one of these events before. We knew about it and we'd been to some in the past. It's been going on for a few years, but they came to us and said, would you be willing to host one here? And it was nice. So we put our own little, they did a raffle, which is what they normally do at these things. And then we filled one of our cars up, which is the Spitfire.
Yeah, full of balloons.
Full of balloons. And Lily, who put it all together, didn't even tell us in the office, did she? Because Freddie, who's behind the camera, asked, and she weren't telling us any of it. Yeah. Do we know what the answer was?
Who won?
Put it on screen now. Flash it up.
I want to say it was over 70. Because she happened to say like 63 balloons fitted in it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's how big you blow the balloon, isn't it?
Yes.
Because if you do loads of little tiny ones, you could be really sneaky.
About hiding loads in the boot.
It was so heartwarming, just walking around. Like, so many people had come out on a not so bright day, and they all had their commemorative plates out. Everyone was in such good spirits. A gentleman bought a police car, which was quite fun.
That was brilliant.
Because I got to use the, what's that called? The tannoy, to be like, welcome everybody to Drive It Day.
I did wonder, because I was parking cars that was like 200 yards away, and I was thinking, we haven't even got a tannoy at Bentwaters. And then I worked out it was that. But this was the first time so you drive the cars obviously on our videos, don't you? But you tend not to do, I drove for a rally that we did in the Cortina once, but you've not really done that yourself, have you?
No, I haven't. So it was my first time getting to actually drive one of the classics on a proper road with other cars about. Because normally it's in the safety of Bentwaters, kind of, what are they called? The tracks?
Yeah. We call it, is it?
Test track.
Yeah.
So I got to take the Cortina out on the roads, and it was amazing.
It was brilliant.
It was so good.
And the other thing as well is the nice thing about it, we sometimes can be a little bit precious about, we get the cars cleaned and then we don't want to use them. But we sort of decided on this one, whether it was rain or sun, the whole team would have a car. So we had, I was in the Lotus Elise, you were in the Mexico.
Lily was in the Mustang.
The modern Mustang, which was nice.
And so many people embrace that same spirit.
Yeah.
They use their car despite knowing
Absolutely.
to put down the drain. So it's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes.
Sort of drive it.
Definitely, definitely. And it was just a really, really lovely day.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll do it again next year. So we've got our car show again in July of this year. Hopefully it will be sunny. But then, yeah, the plan will be to do a drive it day every year. We might change the locations, or we might change the routes. Because that was the thing this time round. We didn't plan a route from Bentwaters to here. We literally just sort of said, go whichever way you like. And there's about 3 different ways of going.
But what was really cool is that we got to take all the cars down the runway at Bentwaters,
yes.
And that looked amazing. Just turning round as you come round the corner when you'd finished the runway and look back at all of the other classics lined up along the runway, it was brilliant.
And a friend of mine that lives in the village nearby, he texted me and he said, because I'd gone one way, but I think a lot of the traffic had gone the other way, and he said it looked amazing when they were all going, a little village called Ike, and he was outside his house, he said it looked amazing.
Well, what was really cool is when we were driving past, there was people who kind of like sat outside and were kind of waiting for all the cars, because they kind of knew it was going to happen, which was really cool.
So yeah, I think it's a definite repeat for next year.
So a brilliant day where we raised over £2,000 for the NSPCC. Some of you may or may not know that we are currently restoring a Jaguar E-Type to be drawn live at Helmingham Hall's Festival of Classic and Sports Cars. So it has just gone through a pinnacle part of its restoration, and it has just been painted. You guys at home decided to go with the beautiful classic blue colour.
So it's azure blue, and it was originally azure blue. So we've had a lot of comments, sort of wacky or unusual kind of thing. You never know with competitions. You'll get a car in, and sometimes a lot of people don't like that it's been tweaked or changed, and then others, you know, the purists want a more traditional looking car. The E-Type was one of those. We've been looking for an E-Type for a long time. We made the decision that this was going to be something that everybody at home can get involved with and make decisions, and it seems like the decision was made that it was going to be azure blue. It was part restored when it came into us, but not quite. We weren't expecting to paint it when it came in, and then it came and it wasn't quite up to the standards we wanted it to be, so we started again. So we kind of made the decision to keep it the azure blue, but then certain decisions along the way can be made by yourselves. So
what is the next part of the Jaguar E-Type's restoration journey? What are you going to look at next?
I think the biggest next part, decision-wise, is the trim. Obviously we're going to put the chrome has been done, the chrome will be fitted. I suppose it's what wheels you want to put on it. Do you want to put steel wheels on it? Do you want to put the spoked wheels on it? But the next big decision, transformation, is going to be the colour and the spec of trim, I guess. So yeah.
Do let us know, guys, what colour you think the trim should be. So we're now going to go into one of our new segments on our new series. So our new series is called Talking Classics, and this is where we're going to go into more depth about the things that are going on in the classic car world at the moment and have previously. So you may have seen us do our live draws on a Thursday evening. Now they're not going to be on a Thursday evening anymore, they're going to be on a different day, and we're using this series to create a more of a show, I guess.
Yeah, we want to bring people who are watching at home to get involved as well, you know, and we want to get out of these 4 walls. We want to be visiting people that have got classic cars and classic stories and live the classic lifestyle, and get out a little bit more and do different things. So that's kind of why we've created Talking Classics, to be the next level up from our lives, really.
Yeah, so today we're going to start with our first segment. Vintage Bentley Heritage took a fleet of 1920s Bentleys to Goodwood using purely synthetic fuel. Now, this is the first time that synthetic fuel has been used in a competition ever, which is really, really cool.
So this is not the E10, E5 debate. This is not the government change. This is an actual new fuel.
An actual new fuel.
You know, you go to a service station now and you see a row of Teslas because it takes 40 minutes or whatever to charge your car. That can't happen when you're doing a long trip. So I've kind of thought, hydrogen was going to be the future because that's what JCB have done. But if you're saying about the synthetic,
yeah, this is it's a new synthetic fuel. You don't actually have to modify the engine. It just needs a little bit of retuning.
Right.
So for example, for us and all the other cars on the road, you can use this new synthetic fuel without having major costs, I guess, to change the car completely.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that's the way forward.
Definitely.
Surely. Is it really expensive?
Now it's really expensive.
Yeah.
But further on along down the line,
like anything. Well, they say that about the electric batteries, don't they?
Yeah.
That's why an electric car is so expensive, because of the batteries. But the more of them on the road, I guess the batteries become cheaper. And that's the same with. Is it environmentally?
It's 100% carbon neutral.
Which I think is incredible. So if I could run my car, keep my car, and run it on something that's a lot more environmentally friendly, then I think it makes perfect sense.
Definitely.
But they've got to get the cost down, and I think everybody will then go for it. Why wouldn't you? Because there is still this stigma with electric. A lot of people are going that way, but equally there's a lot of people that aren't. It sounds to me like, who wouldn't go? Other than the cost, who wouldn't choose this route?
Yeah. Definitely, and then you can think like it gives your classic as well a whole nother new lease of life, because it's gone from something that it was ages ago. It's still that beautiful car, but then you've brought it into the 21st century.
But I think I know we're talking classics, but I think even the modern ones, because the problem is, if you've got your classic, I suppose there is this element of you keep hold of it because of its rarity, and they are going to start to vanish. But even the modern cars that perhaps won't be considered a classic one day, they can be kept as well.
Exactly.
I mean, I suppose if you've got a car that's 1 or 2 years old, you're probably now thinking, I need to get rid of it and I need to get into electric. Perhaps you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Because I've definitely had that worry at home. I've gone, oh gosh, what happens when they decide, okay, that's it, no more petrol and diesel cars at all? What do? I can't afford to buy myself a brand new car.
Exactly.
And then you go, you can use this new fuel.
Brilliant.
I've got a list here of some cars that are now about to become MOT and tax exempt. And I wanted to ask you if you think they deserve a space being called a historic vehicle, I guess. So the first one I've got is an BMW 3 Series E30.
Yes. That is I would consider that to be a classic now. It's that debate of, it used to be 25 years. I'm not really sure if a classic is 25 years anymore, but I certainly think the E30, there is a place in most people's hearts for an E30 BMW.
We love E30s, don't we?
I think,
We've been looking at one on the competitions front for quite some time.
See, I thought you were going to say the E36, so that's not quite up there yet. But no, E30, 100% definitely going to be.
Okay, this next one, I think you're going to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure. So a Porsche 944.
It's not my favourite Porsche. No, I was never a big fan of Porsches. I would say the 911 is up there as a cult classic. The answer to your question, I think it will be a classic. I don't necessarily get that excited by it.
Why don't you like the 944?
I don't not like it. I just.
Pop-up headlights, what's not to like?
Yeah, I don't not like it. I just don't get excited about it. You know.
How about the turbo? Because that was a genuinely fast car.
Well, the red one that we had, that kind of made me fall in love with it, because that was quick.
I don't think most 944s.
No, that was quick. A little bit scary. I mean, at one point I did open it up, and genuinely, accidentally, I opened it up a little bit too much, and the back went, and I thought, whoa, that's this is scary.
Okay, so slightly different now.
Go on.
A Volkswagen Polo Mark II.
I, again, wouldn't get excited about it. I would have one, and I would probably put one away if one came through with low miles, because I'm into my low mileage cars. I'll probably have one and put it away. But would I get excited about seeing one? Possibly not.
Okay, now the next one, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name, if I'm completely honest with you. Reliant Rialto?
Rialto, is it a Rialto?
Rialto. Rialto.
Rialto.
Rialto. There we go. We got there in the end. Now, there's only about 500 of these estimated that are still remaining on the road.
See, I
roadworthy.
probably should know. I won't lie to you. I don't know that. Don't know that car.
There you go.
So there you go.
We're drawing a blank here too.
Right. Okay. That's all right.
I couldn't even say it. I couldn't even say it. Now, so Bearing in mind, so those ones that are now going to become, I guess, classic historic vehicles, which cars do you think are going to become the new classics?
What, as in new cars now that will become the new classics? Or...
What's the classic of the future?
Okay.
Yeah, what's the classic of the future?
It can be brand new, it can be 15 years old, but what's...
I think big engine cars will be the classic of the future because I think the way the world is going, they're going to be the ones that people hold on to.
Right.
So I've got a V12. I think I'd probably like to keep hold of it now because it's a V12, and one day in 10, 15 years
there might not be that kind of car about. There won't be.
There isn't going to be. There isn't going to be. So the fact that you've got a V12 and you pull it out of a garage, I think is, whether you can get the fuel or not, I don't know.
Now, if you did miss out on the Ford Escort Mexico recreation, don't fear, because there is another car which is live on the competition's website as we speak. It is our 2000 Toyota Regis. Now, this car, well, it's almost like a camper van, really, isn't it?
And it's kind of perfect. I know that's quite a strong thing to say, but it is. I mean, we bought it off.
Is it perfect in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, for as far as a camper goes, it ticks all of the boxes.
Yeah,
so
it really does.
We bought it off.
It's 23 years old.
No.
Oh my goodness, no, it really doesn't.
I mean, it has been slept in, but it feels like it hasn't been slept in.
Do you know what? Thinking, I didn't even think, wow, yeah, that actually is 23 years old because it's 2000, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would not, honestly, it didn't even cross my mind. It seems like a brand new car.
The guy who we bought it off, we've known him for a really long time, and he was so particular. I'm not exaggerating. I reckon we probably spent half an hour having a training course on everything about what it does inside.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a little bit clueless as to what it does inside. All of the different buttons, they all work, but it's it's just lovely. Him and his wife used to take it away, but I can't imagine they took it away much because it's just so lovely.
It looks brand new inside, and you've got a microwave, you've got a fridge, you've got a television, a hob, a sink. It's just got
electric curtains, which I was impressed with. Just press this button in the back and it all shut.
Everything you could possibly need.
He's extended the bed, so it's now 6 foot.
Yeah, 6 foot, isn't it?
Which is great.
You could stay in it.
I could, yeah. My feet might be dangling off the end.
So basically, the conversion that it came with, he wasn't that keen on. So he ripped all of the bits out from inside, and he rebuilt the interior himself to tick all of the boxes that he wanted it to. And it's
really
done exactly that. It's perfect.
It really is. Like, you can really imagine. I would say it's more of a kind of a couples camping trip, glamping trip away, rather than a family car, because I don't think there's actually anywhere you could put like a car seat or other passengers.
On the roof.
On the roof. You could tie them to the roof, tie them down, they'll be fine. But yes, no, it is a really, really lovely car, and it drives really nicely as well. I got to take it around the track at Bentwaters, and it is really lovely to drive. Really easy, and surprisingly, it's a really quite a big vehicle, but it feels so light. It really, really does. It feels so light. You could easily travel all the way down to Cornwall, like we said earlier.
Well, you could use it as a daily, quite easily. You could jump in that every day and use it not as a camper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just ticks all the boxes for me. It's nice.
It's really, really nice.